Accuracy in pejoratives. So I was thinking about this topic walking today because I thought of a couple pejoratives and how they have affected me differently. And one of the reasons why they have affected me differently is the accuracy that I perceived from this insult. The first one is called notas, and I had the theory that it came from having high marks, and the person who said it in that either double meaning or in that sense. But yeah, the actual theoretical use that I have seen in this page, it says that it comes from maybe the musical side of it, the meaning note, basically meaning noisy or something, or basically it's of the verb hacerse notar or something like this, right? To get noticed. But in Spanish, it also means marks. So the word marks is called notas. So when you get graded, marked in tests, the thing you get back, that's called nota, right? So I did get good marks. So I thought it was accurate to refer to me that way, even though it was obviously a pejorative, or like, even if in a fun way, it's still kind of a pejorative way. But I thought it was true. So I didn't take offense at it. For example, I would have taken offense to people calling me, I guess, straight up nerd or something like this, because in Spanish the word nerd is translated as empollón, which literally means person who studies a lot. Empollar means like study. And I didn't study, right? I didn't actually study, so I would have perceived it inaccurately. Then the second thing that I was thinking of was chino. Chino, specifically chino de mierda, is like shitty Chinese or like Chinese person, right? Means basically that, right? It's all could be the equivalent of this slur, the chink slur, right? That we have in our language. And I got called that, and I took offense of it, right? And to me, it was like kind of really infuriating, right? I was a sensitive person back then, so it obviously had an effect that, and it's obviously used in a very alienating way, right? It's used in an othering way, so it's like offensive in that sense. It's like basically racism, right? So yeah, it's obviously very offensive, specifically for me, right? But in Spanish, we don't have this kind of insult, or like people didn't use that insult to regarding Japanese race, right? They used specifically Chinese race because of the kind of immigration tendencies that there have been here in Spain. I guess the most common Asian nationality is Chinese, right? Or probably the globally most common nationality of Asian person is Chinese, right? So that is what gets thrown around, right? And I took offense of it, right? It's not like I hate China or whatever, right? To be honest, I think China is pretty cool. And now, for example, maybe even because of these things, I am quite interested in China, and I always kind of relate to East Asian people in general, not in general, more like East Asian people in the West, to experiences by these people because of shared, I don't know, I do feel some kind of shared connection between these people, right? But I took great offense at being called this because it was inaccurate, right? It was like I'm getting insulted, but something that I am not, right? It's like if I was something like this and I got it used against me, okay, that is sad, but at least I am that, right? But the problem, I don't know, to me it's like not just the problem, but a second part. It's like the second part of the problem was that it was untrue. And yeah, these pejoratives, I guess, what make especially the second one, make me think about humor and all of this, right? For example, specifically racist humor in this sense, right? I think that there are people who do racist humor, you could say, in a good way. For example, Andrew Schulz. He has a lot of, I guess, racist stuff, right? He has a lot of videos highlighting race and all of this, but he does this in a very tasteful way, right? He has actual knowledge about things. When he makes a racist joke about Filipinos, it's like you can tell that it's the kind of joke that the Filipinos would say with knowledge of it, right? Or when he talks about black people, he knows about black culture, and then he also knows about different specific the kinds of black people, right? He knows about like black Americans, and then he can differentiate between like black people from origin, right? And the kind of nuance, that kind of knowledge, that kind of taste that comes with it is good and it's funny, right? I think he does it very well. Same, for example, here with Middle East, right? He can tell very Middle Eastern jokes that people from the Middle East find funny, right? So he can tell different jokes from like neighboring countries, right? Which is difficult, right? If you're stereotyping the Middle East as the Middle East, right? But in the title, but then you differentiate the different Middle Eastern countries, like the little rivalries that they have between each other, right? Well, maybe little in the Middle East is particularly, it's not the best word, but you get what I mean, right? Not Israel and Palestine necessarily, right? But for example, right, Egypt and Libya or some things like this, right? And I think this kind of humor, I don't want to say elevated or whatever, right? It's just knowledgeable humor, right? It's humor from someone who has done the work. It's very contrasting with humor that is kind of put in the same category, aka politically incorrect humor, that is basically not funny, right? That's the problem. That is basically just age-old stereotypes, or like decades-old stereotypes that don't even hold up today. Things about crime that are just basically stereotyping someone as a criminal, these kind of things, right? That are not funny, basically. For example, saw a video yesterday of a couple of days ago of a girl who is half Romanian, and she calls herself all of these kind of self-deprecating jokes about like Romanians stealing things. But even herself recognizes that she doesn't even know any Romanian that has stolen anything, right? Which I guess has a counterpoint in humor because of the absurdity, contrasting the absurdity of the stereotype with reality or something like this, right? Or contrasting how it's old, but it feels like an outdated joke. It's like 1950s humor today, right? I don't know. And it's not that it's illegal, that it should be illegal, or that if you laugh at it, you are the devil or something, right? It's just that to me it's lazy humor, right? I have a friend, for example, who basically all of the songs he sings are from YouTubers who make these kind of edgy type jokes, right? And they are boring, right? It's like they are always the same joke sung in different ways, right? Which gets old pretty quickly, right? And has no twist to it, has no punchline, has a little bit of factor of catchiness or something, but I don't know. It's very repetitive. So these are the things that I had to say about pejoratives and the accuracy of it, right? And how I think that contributes to offense and humor, right? It's how to tread this line, I guess. And that is what I had to say today. Thank you for watching. I don't have any particular recommendations that I can think of based on this, so I will probably just let YouTube decide what you have to watch. And goodbye.